Hey, good morning, good evening. My name is Saumya Upadhyaya, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager at GitLab. And today I will take you through the challenges that industries are actually facing from a digital transformation point of view, and how GitLab can help you overcome some of these challenges, and why GitLab is the solution. So as we're aware, digital transformation is really disrupting every industry. You know, the writing's really on the wall. We've seen multiple industries being disrupted. Take the book industry, which was disrupted by online book sales, which was then disrupted by e-readers. You take the music industry, which was disrupted again by digitally by music being sold through iTunes. So instead of now selling albums, customers, or instead of purchasing albums, customers could now purchase individual songs, which kind of makes sense, because in general there were just one or two songs in an album that were worth buying the album for. But let's take an example and drill down into one such industry which has been transformed multiple times over the years, and let's take the telecom industry as an example. So a couple of decades ago, obviously, we had the analog phones, which were then disrupted by the mobile phones, which at that point in time were voice only. We had the SMSs, voice calls were extremely expensive, but still there was a transition from the analog desk phones to the mobile phones, which people could carry anywhere, right? And telecom operators invested heavily on the infrastructure, expand infrastructure, tried to get as many customers as they could to kind of expand into the network effect. What happened next was data came into the picture, right? And when data came into the picture, the revenues of the telecom operators were suddenly taking the hit, because now the SMS revenue that they were getting has now transitioned into applications like WhatsApp and so on. The voice revenues moved to Skype, and then now to something like a WhatsApp. So again, a telecom operator became just a pipe provider, right? Just an infrastructure provider. So at every phase, multiple times the telecom operators had to innovate and get, move ahead of the curve to kind of retain their revenues. Voice, which used to be close to 70–80% of their revenues, is now less than 25–30% of revenues of most telecom operators in the world. So they need to actually find ways to expand, move into adjacent industries, figure out value-added services that they can provide, so that they can retain the revenue stream that they actually have, right? And this is not just the case in the telecom industry. We're seeing this happening across a lot of industries across the board. So I think the writing's on the wall. It's inevitable that enterprises, organizations need to transform digitally. But based on a McKinsey survey that was done a couple of years ago, 70% of digital transformations are actually failing. And why is that? Because most of the processes in an organization are currently manual. You move from one silo to the other, from let's say the development to the testing to the deployment to monitoring and so on. Each of these silos don't talk to each other. There is handoffs. There is a lot of uncertainty, right? There's poor collaboration between the teams. So each team has a different priority. For example, a development team's priority is to make sure that they release as many features and capabilities as possible, whereas the operations team's priority is really to make sure that the production deployment is stable, right? So these are misaligned priorities for both of the teams. So because of which, there is a push and pull between the teams at all points in time. There's lack of visibility and lack of traceability as well. So let's say that there has been an issue identified at production time, but you are not able to trace that back to, let's say, a single deployment, or you're not able to trace that back to what a change that was made that has actually caused this issue, right? So there is a lack of visibility because each of the teams are different, the tools they use are different, the tools don't talk to each other, the teams don't talk to each other. And this is where we're seeing that 70% of digital transformations actually fail, which has resulted in poor quality products, obviously, because you're not able to, connect the dots between each of the deployments, the code changes, and so on. You're not able, you have a poor velocity because you're not delivering fast enough. Competitors might be delivering faster than you, and you're actually losing market opportunities, right? So this could also lead to business disruption, damaged reputation, and customer attrition. And this is not something that obviously any enterprise or any organization wants, right? And hence, based on a lot of conversations that we've had with organizations, we've identified that there are really three drivers for a digital transformation across various sizes of organizations that we've spoken to as well. And the way I look at it, there is an internal aspect of it, which is you want to increase the operational efficiencies. You want the teams to talk to each other. You want to reduce manual processes. You want to make sure that you're deploying fast enough. You have more visibility into your overall development life cycle, and with that visibility, then you're able to actually make improvements in your overall tool chain, right? So that's the first thing. So it's more internal. You want to reduce cost. You want to improve efficiency. You want to maintain developer productivity. The second thing is more from an outside-in point of view, right? So you want to be able to deliver better products faster. Why? Because, customers have the option to switch from one vendor to the other at a click of a button these days, right? It could be a website, it could be an application, it could be a tool. So it is relatively easy for customers to move from one service to another service pretty quickly. So we cannot be complacent anymore. Organizations cannot be complacent. So they need to be able to deliver products faster. They need to be able to deliver quality products faster. And that's where we look at this from an outside-in perspective. We think that as customers look at it from an outside-in perspective, they want to accelerate the software delivery process so that they're able to meet the business objectives. And the third aspect, as organizations undergo this transformation, there is an added element of security and compliance that comes into play, which is am I complying to regulatory processes? Am I complying to my internal processes, right? So all of this needs to be factored in along with the speed that you're trying to achieve with the new digital transformation journey that organizations are trying to take. So it's not new, right? So digital transformation is something that organizations have been trying to do from a fairly long time period. So based on which part of their application development journey that they want to fix, organizations have selected one or more tools. So for example, if they're looking at issue management, they're probably looking at a Jira, or if they're looking at automation, they may be looking at a Puppet, Chef, and so on. If they're looking at repository, they could be looking at Artifactory, and so on, right? So there are, based on what they want to actually achieve, organizations have picked one or more tools. However, these tools introduce a tool chain attack, right? So the minute you adopt a specific tool set and for one tool set for one stage that you want to fix, and then another tool set for something else that you want to fix, there is the integration challenge that is available. You need to make the two tools talk to each other. And this leads to a lot of fragile integrations, becomes very hard to scale, and can also lead to outages in the future. So a lot of organizations which have already started on their digital transformation journey, we see have adopted one or more tools, which could lead to the tool chain time. So what is really needed? So we spoke about the three key objectives that organizations have when they're going forward with the digital transformation journey. What they need is to increase their operational efficiencies. They need a single consistent view across various teams that are operating. So there could be the dev team, the operations team, security team. All of these need to have one single view so that each one of them is aligned with what the other team is doing. So if there is development is actually pushing a deployment into production, ops needs to be aware of that and needs to be ready for monitoring that. And security needs to be aware of that and needs to be able to make sure that the release that is going out meets all the security requirements that the company or the regulatory mandates. The second is, it could be, there could be many such avenues for increasing operational efficiencies. We just listed a few over here. We'd like it to be cloud independent, right? You need to be able to deploy it anywhere. It could be an on-prem, it could be a SaaS. There should be a capability that organizations need to have. Today, if they're using let's say Google Cloud, they should be able to use AWS in the future, so that, and the amount of effort the organization needs to spend in switching from one provider to the other should not be significantly high. The second key objective that we saw that organizations have is that they want to deliver better products faster. So what's required to achieve this objective is that teams need to have the ability to work in parallel. So for example, ops need to be able to give feedback back to dev, security needs to be able to give feedback back to dev, and dev needs to give feedback to the other groups as well. So there needs to be an end-to-end feedback loop that is available across the board so that they can work in parallel, they can communicate with each other. We need to be able to automate testing anytime a product development is complete and is committed. The testing, the security, and the deployments need to be automated, so that there is minimal manual interventions to deliver the product faster. And then, of course, the security risk, needs to be to cater to the security risks and compliances. The security aspects of it needs to be embedded within the development process itself, so that there's no separate security processes that need to be run outside of the process itself. So now we've identified what are the objectives, we've identified what's actually required. How do customers need to measure the results, right? We have a lot of organizations who have been able to measure the operational efficiency improvements in multiple ways, but some of them are listed over here. What is the total cost of ownership? So today you might be maintaining about 10 different tools. You're spending some time and effort in actually maintaining that tool set, integrating that tool set. There is a license cost, there's a people cost, there's a compute cost, and so on for managing all of this, right? So we need to identify what is the overall cost of ownership of maintaining this tool chain that you have. The cycle time from the time you actually have the idea to the time it actually goes into production and is set up for monitoring. So the end-to-end time of how much time it's going to take to get an idea into production can be measured. How often are you deploying to production, and developer turnover and satisfaction. All of these are typical measures of determining what operational efficiencies are. We have customers who have moved from taking a development frequency as an example, who have moved from a once in 6 months development frequency to a couple of deployments in a particular date, right? So those are the kind of improvements that we're talking about. Delivering better products faster. How many releases are we able to make? How many in-budget releases are we able to make? Cycle time is a measure that can be used to measure both operational efficiencies as well as how quickly you're delivering faster. Of course, the ability to regain market share or gain market share, increase the number of customers and revenue and so on, are also good measures from an outside-in perspective of, am I able to deliver products faster that are catering to the needs of my customers? From measuring security and compliance risk, we need to make sure we understand what percentage of code is actually being scanned. We need to understand the audit rate, whether we are compliant on the licenses that we are actually using, whether it could be open source licenses and so on. whether we are compliant to any CVEs that have been released, and whether we are exposed to any of the vulnerabilities is something that we need to measure. And these are the typical measures that you can use to determine a before and after scenario of your DevOps or your digital transformation journey itself. So how do we as GitLab offer this? So we offer an end-to-end DevOps platform. So in the previous one of the slides, you saw that typically when a customer starts their DevOps or digital transformation journey, they would have picked a best of breed kind of solution, which then they would have integrated into multiple, into an extended tool set with multiple different products. GitLab is a solution which gives an end-to-end DevOps as a single application, all the way from managing and planning your application releases to monitoring and security and defending your application, right? So it's an end-to-end application with a single data source, a single permission model. You can have collaboration across the teams. It's well integrated between each of these stages as well. So why GitLab? Why is it important to have a single application? We are the leading SCM and CI in one single application, and we have analysts and customers also recognizing that. We'll talk about that in the next subsequent slides. We have built-in capabilities for security, compliance, insight, visibility, monitoring, and so on. So it becomes a lot easier to do it from end-to-end in one single tool, where you don't need to think about integrating, test automation into it or test code review into it and so on, right? So it's an end-to-end solution. We provide flexible hosting options. So if you're interested to host GitLab on your own, you can have a self-managed version. We also have a SaaS offering available. We are innovating rapidly. We'll talk about that in one of our subsequent slides. We are an open source company. Our core, we are an open core company where we have close to about 2,200 active contributors to our code, and our pace of innovation also is very high. And we have a very collaborative and transparent customer experience. Unlike a lot of the vendors that you would have worked with in the past, our roadmap, our vision, what's coming in the next couple of releases is all very transparent, and you can see it online. You have the ability to contribute to that roadmap as well by voting up, voting down specific features, capabilities as well. So we are an extremely collaborative and transparent company in that way. So we've spoken about this. This talks about the end-to-end DevOps practice that is built in. So as soon as an issue is created, an issue could be anything. It could be a bug. It could be a feature. So from the master branch, you create a merge request, make the changes. As soon as you commit your changes, a CI pipeline runs, and as a part of this pipeline, you can have embedded into the pipeline code review, test automation, application security, peer reviews, and so on. And once all of these activities are complete and the changes have been approved, the issue can be merged back into the main line. And within GitLab itself, you have the capability to configure your staging deployment or your production deployment. You can configure that and then deploy it onto your production deployment as well, and automatically monitor that app using Prometheus, and also then give feedback back. So if you detect a performance issue, you detect a defect within the deployed application, you can give back feedback back into the same application, which then creates an issue, and the whole cycle is repeated, right? So the end-to-end DevOps practices are built into the solution itself, which can make it a lot easier for customers to have visibility into what's really going on from an application development lifecycle point of view. So we spoke about GitLab being a very transparent partner. So our roadmap is available on our website. In addition to the roadmap being available, we also have something where we define what level of maturity each of the capabilities that we offer are in. So whether it is a minimal capability, or it's not yet available, or it is a viable capability where we have a few customers who might be using it and internally we are dog fooding it, or it's a lovable capability, right? So we have actually classified each of our offerings or capabilities into these maturity levels. So that would give customers a good understanding on where we are from a journey point of view in each of these stages, and determine whether that particular capability makes sense for them, or when that capability will make sense for them in the near term, right? And it's not just us saying, what we are doing is likable by a lot of customers. We've been validated by analysts. Gartner has identified us as a visionary, in the enterprise agile planning tools. Forrester, a couple of years in a row, Forrester has identified us as a leader in the continuous integration tools, again, a couple of years in a row. We have been identified as a very strong performer in a brand new wave that Forrester came out with, which is the value stream management tools. Again, there we are a strong performer and are at par with a lot of industry best of breed kind of solutions. We've been identified as an innovator by IDC in agile code development and tools that are supporting open source development platforms, right? So in addition to analysts talking about us, we also have customer validation. So Gartner Peer Insights is the site where customers go and rate our capabilities in various different areas. We've been identified as customer choice, Peer Insights Customer Choice. We've received an award for the best enterprise agile planning tools, application release orchestration software, again, a couple of years in a row, right? So you don't have to hear us say it, customers, analysts are actually saying it as well. So how are we able to do this? How can we be best of breed in more than one product category, considering that we are a single applications with different stages that we offer, right? So we have the power of convention. We are actually leveraging the DevOps best practices of 100,000 organizations across the world, because we are open core. We have customers using our core solution, which is available for free, and then as their needs grow, they actually extend to the capabilities that we offer in higher tiers. And we have a very passionate community of users of over 2,200 people and organizations contribute code. You can see that almost 200 plus contributions are merged back into our code base every month. So that is a significant amount that's outside of what we are contributing as an organization. We're doing continuous innovation. We have been releasing every single month. I think we are at the 97th month, or we have never missed. Every 22nd of every month we have a release. Of course, we do have the SaaS version has releases more frequently, but since the adoption of the self-managed hosted version has to be adopted by customers as well more frequently, we do it once a month. And we have an open ecosystem, which is we use products and solutions in our portfolio, which are actually built on very powerful open source technologies like Kubernetes and Prometheus. We have a very aggressive vision, right? So, and we will talk about that in the last slide. But our vision is actually possible because we have a very, very high rate of change. So, if you can see, since so it started in 2011 with mainly source code management and issue management. Year over year, we have added, we have expanded in breadth as well as depth. And today we are looking at an end-to-end DevOps vision where we want to offer a single application for customers to achieve their DevOps transformation. We have a lot of customers who have validated us. These customers are across various tiers of our offering, using various capabilities. For example, Goldman Sachs in this example uses source code management and CI/CD. They have reduced the release cycle or release frequency from 1 to 2 weeks to once in every few minutes, right? So that's the kind of change we're talking about. We have BI Worldline, which has improved code review by 120x speed, and a couple of other examples listed here. We're trusted by a lot of enterprise customers across the world, across various verticals and industries, including government agencies. So you can see the full list of, it's not the full list, but at least a small subset of customers that have been listed out here. So why do these customers really trust us, right? So there are multiple levels that customers actually have benefit or get a ROI from their GitLab investment. In general, the most basic level of, or the most basic break-even is achieved by just consolidating multiple tool sets that they are actually using into one single tool set. What this does is reduces the license cost of multiple tool sets, the integration cost, the FTE cost, and it also increases, developer productivity, because now they're working on more strategic activities rather than working on activities like integrations and maintaining those integrations, right? So that is level 1 and 2. The third level of cost reduction is we're seeing customers able to reduce their cycle time, deploy a lot faster, able to keep up or even exceed their competitors by releasing features a lot faster, right? So that is level 3 and 4, where there is competitive displacement as well as revenue acceleration, because the features are now able to go out a lot faster. You're able to deliver quality software out fast, so customers are not incentivized to move to your competitors as well. So what's our vision? We aim to replace multiple vendors across the life cycle. In certain stages, we are already replacing multiple competitors. We are in a lovable level of maturity, whereas in certain other capabilities, we have a specific focus where we're saying that we will support enterprises as they decide to move to their towards their cloud native deployments. When they do decide to move, we will be ready to support them as a single application, right? So we have an aggressive vision. We aim to displace a lot of competitors as a part of this. We have started on that journey from a breadth and a depth point of view, but our end vision is to be an end-to-end single application DevOps solution that will solve a lot of the digital transformation issues that customers have faced that we have spoken about in the first slide, which relates to complex tool sets, lack of collaboration, and so on. So we aim to provide that all with one single application from an end-to-end perspective. Thank you.